So there was an incident which happened in the United States, in Washington, where a plane crashed into okay, let me read the headline. American Airlines plane collision. All 67 people on board two aircrafts have been reported dead. This is a massive, massive event where everybody should just, for once, take time to be mindful of the kind of blame they're throwing away. But you know, President Trump will always say what he thinks in his mind. He will not shy away from throwing blame. And this time, who was he blaming? It's a tragic, tragic event where normal human beings will first of all condole, have some empathy with those who have lost their loved ones. And when the dust has settled, and then you start to throw blame. But that is not the case with Mr. 47. Mr. 47 is always on the attack. And straight away, he was already blaming
anybody else. And there are things where you have to go by brain power, you have to go by psychological quality. And psychological quality is a very important element of it. These are various very powerful tests that we put to use, and they were terminated by Biden. And Biden went by a standard that's the exact opposite. So we don't know, but we do know that you had two planes at the same level. You had a helicopter and a plane. That shouldn't have happened. And we'll see. We're going to look into that, and we're going to see. But certainly for an air traffic controller, we want the brightest, the smartest, the sharpest. We want somebody that's psychologically superior. And that's what we're going to have. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Mr. President, you mentioned at the top of the briefing that there were several Russian nationals on the flight.
Yes.
Will the U.S. government be willing to facilitate the transfer of their remains, considering the fact there is no direct air travel between the two countries?
We've already been in contact with Russia, and the answer is yes, we will facilitate. Yes. Please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. The situation in the Democratic Republic of the Congo is getting worse, even though President John Lorenzo has been mediating the conflict between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo because he wants to bring peace and stability. The situation is really bad right now. I want to hear from Ms. President if you have any plan in the future to bring peace in the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
You're asking me a question about Rwanda, and it is a very serious problem, I agree, but I don't think it's appropriate right now to talk about it, but it is a very serious problem.
That's true. That is true. I like that answer.
People who were killed, and you are blaming Democrats and DEI policies and air traffic control, and seemingly the member of the U.S. military who was flying that Black Hawk helicopter. Don't you think you're getting ahead of the investigation right now?
No, I don't think so at all. I don't think with the names of the people, you mean the names of the people that are on the plane? You think that's going to make a difference?
Does it comfort their families?
They are a group of people that have lost their lives. If you want a list of the names, we can give you that. We'll be giving that very soon. We're in coordination with American Airlines. We're in coordination very strongly, obviously, with the military. But I think that's not a very smart question.
But are you
I'm surprised coming from
Thank you, President, for being here. Based on the analysis so far, do you have a sense of who is at fault, if it was the plane, the helicopter, air traffic control, and can you assure people that it is safe to fly in and out of D.C.?
Well, I've given you the analysis, and the analysis was it was based on vision. You had a lot of people that saw what was happening. You had some people that knew what was happening. There was some warnings, but the warnings were given very, very late. You know, those warnings were given very late. It was almost as they were given. A few seconds later, there was a crash. It should have been brought up earlier. But the people in the helicopter should have seen where they were going. I can't imagine people with 20/20 vision not seeing, you know, what's happening up there. Again,
blows my mind.
Height, you're going in reverse directions or sideways directions. Obviously,
in reverse direction or sideways direction. What is he saying?
you have planes going in the opposite. They're always lower, we're higher, so if somehow there's a screw up, there's not going to be a tragedy. It'll be close, but there's never going to be a tragedy if you're at a different elevation. For whatever reason, they were at the same elevation. And also, from the American Airlines standard, he's along the track that every plane is along. You say, what was a helicopter doing in that track? It's very sad. But visually, somebody should have been able to see and taken that helicopter at a plane.
Visually, somebody
should have been at a different height.
Should have been able to see. They should have been on different height.
Plane. What other nationalities were on board that passenger
There
jet?
were a couple of others. We're going to be announcing it in about an hour. We have some very specific information. We're calling the countries. We've spoken to most of them, but there were some other countries represented.
Mr. President, have you spoken to President Putin?
I have not, no.
Mr. President, on your executive
Not about this.
On your executive order, you've already issued an executive order you say will restore aviation safety.
Right.
This crash happened after that. Was the executive order successful, and what more needs to change to keep people safe?
Well, we issued it 3 days ago, and we're in the process of making those changes. This is something that should have been done a long time ago. Actually, my original order should have never been changed, and I think maybe you wouldn't have had this problem. Maybe.
Maybe.
Yes, thank you. We see like everyday life that very often those diversity hires cause sometimes issues, as you just mentioned. So what plan do you have? Are we going to see some fire? Are you going to fire some of those diversity hire in the federal government? What's plan do you have?
I would say the answer is yes. If we find that people aren't mentally competent, you see the language. The language is put out by them. And if you see that, I'm not going to bore you by reading it again, but these are not people that should be doing this particular job. They'd be very good for certain jobs, but not people that should be doing this particular job.
Oh, we are in for a ride for the next 4 years. He says it how it's supposed to be. We are going to be forced to love this man.
Made the mistake.
It's all under investigation.
I see why some people love him. He says it how he thinks.
Conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash.
Because I have common sense, okay? And unfortunately, a lot of people don't. We want brilliant people doing this. This is a chess game.
Oh my God.
When you have
Oh my God.
60 planes coming in during a short period of time, and they're all coming in different directions, and you're dealing with...
You have to use common sense.
Computer work.
You have to use common sense.
Computers. And one of the other things I will tell you is that the systems that were built, I was going to rebuild the entire system, and then we had an election that didn't turn out the way it should have. But they didn't build the systems properly. They spent a lot of money renovating a system, spending much more money than they would have spent if they bought a new system for air traffic controllers, meaning the computerized systems. There are certain companies that do a very good job. They didn't use those companies. They use companies that should not have been doing it. No, I think
They use woke companies.
It's very important to understand that for some jobs, and not only this, but air traffic controllers, they have to be at the highest level of genius. Okay.
I want to ask you about
You have to be at the highest level of genius.
the committee was affected, but first, if I can, the cited FAA text that you read is real, but the implication that this policy is new or that it stems from efforts that began under President Biden or the Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg is demonstrably false. It's been on the FAA's
Who said
website.
that, you?
No, it's on the website, the FAA's website. It was there in 2013. It was there for the
Take a look
entirety.
what I read.
It was there for the entirety of your administration
Nice and
too.
easy.
So my question is, why didn't you change the policy during your first
I
administration?
did change it. I changed the Obama policy, and we had a very good policy. And then Biden came in, and he changed it. And then when I came in 3 days ago, I signed a new order bringing it to the highest level of intelligence.
It
Okay,
was on the website.
please.
I didn't even understand what he said. Oh, quiet.
You
Quiet.
mentioned that vision was probably the problem issue in this crash. There's been some reports that one of the pilots in the helicopter may have been using night vision equipment. Was there any
I heard
indication?
that. We don't know. We're going to know that pretty soon. It may change your view plane if you do have the night vision. So it's very possible that could have happened. That would be maybe a reason why you wouldn't actually see as well as on a clear night. You can see sometimes better without it.
Really?
A couple of more.
Really?
Mr. President, how pulled out your Secretary of Transportation?
You know what? Trump is the man.
Getting other nominees confirmed quickly.
Trump is the man.
Is it helpful
We are
that
in for
transportation confirmed?
a ride for the next 4 years.
Getting other nominees
So you have night vision, but you can't see clearly with night vision. What is the use of night vision? What is the use of night vision? That you have night vision, but you can't see clearly. And I like the way he told the guy to shut up. Be quiet. We are in for a ride for the next 4 years. All of these press conferences are going to be wild. Truly, Donald Trump has got stamina. He doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't take any drugs. He has got stamina. The way he shuts people down, the way he answers questions, he doesn't care if the answer is true or false. He just gives you the answer that he thinks is right. And he gives a damn what you think. And he shuts you down, he moves to the next. We are in for a ride. Buckle up, people. It's going to be amazing. Catch you guys on the next one.